Hello everybody, I'm Namita Thapar, Executive Director of MCure Pharmaceuticals. Welcome to yet another episode of Uncondition Yourself, an exclusive talk show on women's health. Today we will be talking about hypertension, which in layman terms means high blood pressure. Hypertension is extremely prevalent in a country like India. For those over 30, it's 25% prevalent. For those over 50, you see almost 50% prevalence. And for those over 70, it's about 90% prevalence. We have our expert with us today, Dr. Brian Pinto, a very renowned interventional cardiologist, and our two lovely ladies. We have Maria and we have Carol. So Dr. Brian, why don't we start with a very basic question on what is hypertension, what are its causes, and what are the common symptoms that you see in this condition?
Namita, as you mentioned, we spoke about hypertension being high blood pressure, which is so important. Today, all of us know that the most common killer in this world, way above coronavirus, way above, is hypertension. 10% of deaths all over the world occur because of hypertension.
That's a large statistic.
That's a very large statistic. In the world, approximately, let's say 6.5 billion people, there's a death between 50 to 60 million people die every year. That's statistics. 17 million of these 55 million people die because of cardiovascular disease.
Okay.
So you can imagine how large a number of people die because of either heart attacks, a stroke, peripheral vascular disease, so on and so forth. And the most common cause for all of this, including kidney and eye, is hypertension. And I would just like to tell you from up to down. For example, start with your head. Could be a stroke. So the commonest cause of stroke is hypertension, whether it be a bleeding or whether it be a lack of blood supply, the commonest cause. Then from the stroke comes to your eyes. So it can badly affect your eyes. Your retina can be badly affected. Then you come down, it can cause blockages in your carotid artery, so you can get strokes because of that. Come further down, the aorta can get acutely dissected, and therefore you can have an acute dissection of the aorta with a high blood pressure. Come down to the heart, coronary artery disease as well as left ventricular hypertrophy, heart failure, HFpEF, HFrEF, all these different kinds of heart failure situations. Come down lower to the aorta, again a dissection of the aorta. Come to the kidneys, damage to the kidneys. Come to the legs, peripheral vascular disease.
Oof.
So you can have so many problems because of high blood pressure, acute, subacute, chronic.
Is it genetic to a large extent?
I think it's genetic and circumstantial both.
Okay.
Nothing is completely genetic unless you have one of those rare kind of conditions, and nothing is completely circumstantial. That means if you measure it early, you come up early, you got to restrict your salt, you got to keep your body weight okay, then I'm pretty certain that you can control it and either prevent it or at least delay it.
Do you think hypertension is different in women than it is in men? Maybe the symptoms, maybe the percent of cases, diagnosed in women versus men?
I think, first of all, women take a back seat for any kind of disease process. They think because they are homemakers, now of course they're coming to the workforce also, but because they're homemakers, very often they don't get themselves tested. And they continue to believe that cardiovascular disease and hypertension doesn't affect women. Quite to the contrary. You'll see almost an equal number of women having high blood pressure. And as the age increases, as you mentioned, postmenopausal, it just spurts up.
Right.
But there are women who have high blood pressure when they are young. So almost all of us, men and women, should have their first blood pressure check at least by the age of 18 to 20.
18 to 20,
yes,
that early?
That early. Because
Wow.
about 5 to 10% of people will have hypertension when they're 18 years old or 20. And especially with obesity, watching television all the time, increased amount of fast food, salt intake, which is terrifically increased compared to the exercise that we do. Women who have diabetes, those who are taking painkiller medicines for long periods of time, they also. And then those who have kidney disease or any other thing can also be hypertensive. People with thyroid disease, they could be hypertensive, adrenal disease. And then that large group of what we call as idiopathic hypertension. Hypertension which you really do not know the cause of.
I can understand post-menopausal hypertension, but what really baffled me are the two other conditions that impact women, which is contraception-induced and pregnancy-related How is it that these lead to hypertension?
Pregnancy does not really lead to hypertension in most women. Actually, if they become pregnant, you'll see a drop in blood pressure. Most women, normal.
Right.
But you'll see a group of women who what we call is preeclampsia. Now that is a pathological condition where the placenta and does not match, and these children also have certain problems. And so every woman should have her blood pressure and thyroid examined at the time of blood pressure, at the time of this thing, because very often they don't pick up their thyroid also. So when you check your blood pressure and you find that in the early trimester, the first trimester, blood pressure is high, now that's a woman who is going to have a difficult pregnancy. And she is going to need her blood pressure to be very well controlled during pregnancy, or she could get into deep trouble, and the unborn baby may also have complications.
As a doctor, if you're advising a 20-year-old who's just taken her blood pressure and fortunately doesn't have it, what are the precautionary things she should do so that she doesn't get it?
First of all, her genetic history must be looked into. If both her parents don't have it, then but still she shouldn't be smoking. If she's smoking, and now many young girls do that. So smoking is one thing that should be out. Alcohol should be in moderation, cannot be huge amounts. Little bit of physical activity should be there, at least half an hour per day, 5 to 6 days a week. Cutting down on your salt intake and eating good amount of natural foods like fruits, vegetables, salads, sprouts, all helps. Keeping your weight, the BMI between 19 and 24 is extremely important. Checking your blood pressure regularly. Now, if you don't have the blood pressure at 20, by and large, the recommendation is take it after 5 years.
Right.
But you could take it earlier, just to be sure. Once a year or once in 2 years is fine. But if you are on the borderline, then you should check every 6 months to a year. If you say on a general age group, a 40-year-old woman came to me, I would be happy if her blood pressure was below 130 by 80.
Okay, got it.
I try to get it down to 120 by 80 with lifestyle, not with medication.
So treatment adherence and compliance is a very big concern. Do you see a lot of that in your patients?
Oh yeah, you'll always see that. And so the best thing to do is to sit down with your patient and explain to them that if you don't take this, then within 5, 10, 15 years, you're likely to develop stroke, heart attack, renal failure, all those kind of things. They have to understand. And they have to understand that blood pressure medicine is not the problem. The problem is blood pressure. Today, you have medications where you have 2 drugs in one, which is now the principle, combinations, which is now the principle for most blood pressure patients to start them on 2 small medications at the same time. So if you have one pill to be taken, I think patients become much more compliant. Many of these blood pressure patients also need to take a statin. Right. Because that's the other preventive aspect, to keep the cholesterol. If I were to be asked what are the 2 things I would do to reduce events, I would do 2 of these things. I would bring blood pressure within control, and I would bring lipids within control. Right. And then you would have a 90% decrease in mortality all over.
Now we'll be talking to our 2 lovely ladies, Maria and Carol. So let's start with you, Maria. Can you tell us a bit more about when did you diagnose that you had hypertension, and then how did that impact your lifestyle?
Well, actually, I discovered it purely by accident. My husband suffers from some hypertension, and so regularly he checks his blood pressure. And like for a gimmick, I just said, okay, let me check mine today. Okay. And it was 150 by 90 or something. Wow. I said, what? I thought maybe it's a mistake. Took it again. And right enough, it was high. But the scary thing for me was that I felt absolutely normal. It's right. Silent.
And that's why I think Dr. Brian beautifully used the word silent killer. Exactly. I think it's very important to internalize that.
And that's what we need to do. If the blood pressure is very high, then you can treat from day one. If the blood pressure is not very high and it's borderline, then there is the need for actually doing either home blood pressure monitoring, which you must have all heard of. That means you get a machine, do it at least once a day for 7 days, and keep a record of that. Blood pressure should also be taken after the patient relaxes for about 5 minutes or so, and sitting in this very comfortable position like this. So it's very important to record it. So these are the 2 conditions. And the third, I would say, is your lipid profile. If you do these 3 at age 20 and 25, you can keep a watch on these 3 conditions. And these are the commonest causes for cardiovascular deterioration of health.
Fantastic. And now we have Carol, our lovely 77-year-old who has had the most brilliant lifestyle. I mean, when we were speaking, you told me that you don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't eat red meat. You worked out, had a very balanced work and personal life. And so you were quite surprised when you were detected with hypertension. And, so was I, because I thought people with good lifestyles have a much lower probability of getting it.
I've had quite a rigid lifestyle as far as my eating habits are concerned. I did aerobics for a very long time. But I think it's the stress in my life because of work, or sometimes even because of the maids at home, that suddenly makes my blood pressure shoot up.
And I think the stress is increasing as days go by, especially in these COVID times. It's gone up even further because people are right now at home sometimes in small houses. They're wondering whether they're going to get the COVID, so that's a stress factor. Financial aspects have come up, further stress. So stress is a common cause not only for hypertension but also for cardiovascular disease. There are many conditions in blood pressure which you must be knowing about in other people, like masked hypertension, situations where blood pressure is normal in the office but abnormal at home. White coat hypertension, where when they come to the doctor, the blood pressure goes up, and
That's a good one. White coat hypertension.
Yeah, so all this is there. Yeah, so a lot of white coat
I never keep a
hypertension.
blood pressure machine at home.
Yeah.
Is the moment I take it and if I see it's high, it goes even
It
higher.
goes. So you have machines
Right.
now. You have
Right.
machines now that would not show you there, and
Right.
only when you come to the doctor and he feeds in a code, he'll be able to see your last 7 readings. So those are also available. But ultimately, we must know, and there can be situations of target organ damage which we may pick up. For example, when we do a 2D echo, we can find left ventricular hypertrophy. That immediately suggests, or if you do a fundoscopy and you see changes in the eye. So complications of hypertension should also be mentioned over here. Another thing is that even though you may diagnose it, then only 50% or less than 50% of them get treated adequately. So they may take a pill, but they are still inadequately controlled. So controlling, when they say is treatment, less than 50% get treated. Of that, less than 50% get adequately treated, and therefore the actual number of patients who get treated for hypertension is less than 25%.
So let me ask you a $1 billion question, which I ask all women. So have you been able to control your stress and manage your stress?
And when you're running a business, there's always some stress. So how do I control it? How do I prevent somebody from coming late or forgetting to do something?
Right. What about you, Maria? Have you been able to manage your stress better?
Well, I have been trying yoga. I think that does calm my mind a lot. And if you can, not even just the exercises, but if you can just do the breathing and pranayam,
Right.
it definitely calms your mind.
No, and I
like
would
that.
absolutely agree with you, because I started
Yeah.
yoga a couple of years back and I've seen a world of difference.
Valid point really in all this is, since you're doing it for women,
Yes.
I think to conclude that there's no difference, right? We're suffering the same issues that men do.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
not only
So
the same
it's a-
issues, and even worse, because women actually bear a harder burden than men. It just doesn't end with work. It also goes to the house. And Indian men, at least, not to say anything bad about them, but don't take too much activity in the housework by and large. So
I think we should give him a big round of applause for saying that on television.
yeah, so they don't by and large. They've
it's a
been brought
fact.
up by their mothers in that way, and it's part of our culture. It's not like related. They don't blame anybody for that. And please don't think that just because I've not had this or I've not had that, I cannot be hypertensive. You can be hypertensive. You can be diabetic, and you can have a bad lipid profile.
So get
And
yourself checked.
Get yourself checked.
Bottom
of course,
line.
of course.
So many insights and learnings from all three of you. So thank you once again for being on our show. This brings us to the end of another fabulous episode of Uncondition Yourself. And now I'd like to give our lovely doctor here a mug, Uncondition Yourself mug to sign.
Thank you.
अपनी उजली ढूंढने है वो निकली तकदीर अपनी उजली इल्ली ने मन में ठाना है बन के उड़